Well, look what the cat dragged in. It's me. I haven't been in. That's how that goes. Anyways, hello. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope everything is going great. We have one hell of a topic to ramble about today, so I'm going to try to keep it short, but no promises. So, today I just wanted to ramble about anxieties and how I've been changing my mental space to kind of deal with them, and how much it's kind of opened my eyes to how bad I was dealing with all of these things before, and just how much it can do to change your ability to just do things in the day-to-day. This was kind of sparked by seeing a bunch of people talk about the same thing, whether that's in music, whether that's in their own podcasts or videos. And it kind of just prompted me to really take a look at it in my own life and to realize just how many similarities there were as someone that has a lot of anxiety and just has a hard time dealing with even just regular day-to-day tasks because of how much I can end up getting stuck in my head overthinking about pretty much everything. So for the past couple years, I want to say, I have been incredibly terrified about my own health in general. And it's obviously due to the fact that I think just having cardiovascular diseases and so many things that have been in the works of being dealt with for years has kind of scared me into thinking that something could happen like every day. Like I might have some sort of cardiovascular event or something like that happen. And it's been incredibly paralyzing for me, I think, in just doing anything in my day-to-day. I end up worrying about it when I wake up. I end up worrying about it, anytime I experience any kind of chest pain or anything that happens like that. It's immediately just the switch is flipped. Oh no, here we go again. It's one of those opportunities, something could happen. Or if I have a palpitation or something, I'm like, okay, coin flip, could be game over. But hearing a lot of other people talk about it has made me realize that A, it's not only me, and B, I think this is just kind of something that people in general go through at some point in their lives. Because I think as kids, we kind of feel like bulletproof shields, you know what I mean? Like we feel like we're indestructible. We can't be hurt by anything. Nothing's gonna happen long term that's bad. We kind of just take everything for granted. And I think part of why this starts to become such a phase for people in their adult lives, especially their young adult lives, is because I think your 20s, and maybe for some people even their early 30s, you experience A, life by yourself for the first time, most likely, and B, you have no filter from the real world. Everything is in your view, and you can see everything that's happening, the good and the bad. So I think it's very easy to get lost in, all the risks of daily life, all of the goods and the bads out there. Mostly, I think people get scared by the bads of what could happen in the day-to-day. And for some people, that becomes this whole phase of people being scared of mortality or anything like that could be a spook for them in this kind of phase of things. And I think from what I've seen, it seems like a lot of people go through this. And for me, it has been specifically my physical health just due to my medical conditions, but I think it can be anything for anyone. I've seen people talk about, just being afraid that like planes they're on are going to crash, or that, someone's going to break into their house, or something is just going to go wrong. It seems to be that there's this point in time where people have this realization that something could happen. And I think once that switch does flip from you being a kid that thinks that they're invincible and you can just jump off a building to someone who is vulnerable, I think that scares people a lot more than they let on. And it just becomes this thing that can swallow your mind up. But for me, I think it's been something that I've also not properly paid attention to. when it started to happen this way. I think I just ended up kind of sitting with the fear rather than actually trying to rationalize it and to make it something that I could understand wasn't making sense to be afraid of every time anything was ever happening. And I think that this probably doesn't happen for everyone, but I do think that everyone at least goes through some sort of phase where there is some overarching fear of something in their life that isn't necessarily always rational. But yeah, for me, it was literally everything. I could be eating healthy, I could be exercising, I could be doing everything in my power to make sure that I'm handling my life in a way that's preventative. And I would still think that any sign that something bad could be happening was immediately the bad thing happening. And it was just getting to the point where it was so on my mind that it was hard to pay attention to anything else. I felt like I was exhausted by just worrying about everything. I would have no energy. I'd want to sleep all the time. I'd want to, just not do tasks because I was just too busy focusing on being scared of just existing almost. Now, what hasn't changed? Still tired all the time. But I've really kind of dived headfirst into refocusing my mental state and like how I rationalize these situations, and just a lot of mindfulness changes in my life that have significantly changed how I view these things, and whether or not those types of things sit super heavily in my headspace. And I just kind of wanted to share those things because I feel like for me, having this kind of similar quote unquote mortality mode that everyone seems to also be having at this kind of point in their life, I've really started to enjoy trying to live life in a way that feels like I can be excited and feels like I can have all these things to look forward to instead of worrying about all the time. And so I just figured, I'd plop a video for it. I'd been talking to a couple people about having started to do all this stuff, but I figure it's easier to talk about it here than to write a giant paragraph every time that I tell someone about all the mental health changes that I've been trying to make. For me, I've been finding that going on runs where I can just zone out or go full Zen mode, or even just give myself time to think about things, both gives me that space to do that, but also kind of makes every situation where you do that thinking into something that's reinforced with positivity as well. Like just doing that run for yourself and how good you feel after starts to rationalize just how you think, even if it's something negative that you're thinking about during the run or something that you're worried about during the run. I think just having that frame of reference of like, all right, I'm out in the world, I'm doing my thing, I'm exercising, I'm just doing what I can and what's in my control, gives you this kind of grounding feeling where you are doing all the things that you can. So why hopelessly worry about things that you can't even control? You know what I mean? So that's been really calming for me, just going on runs to just kind of relax and take my mind off things or think about things that may be bothering me and trying to rationalize them a bit. But I've also been just doing a lot of positive, like affirming things for myself. So whether that be, making sure I'm staying on top of skincare, which I think can get hard for people when they start getting overrun by all this brain fog from thinking about everything. Or I've been using a journaling app recently as well to kind of keep tabs on things. It pokes you every day at some point and asks you how you're feeling, asks you what you've been doing to relax for the day, what kind of activities you've been doing, what things you might be looking forward to, and how you've been taking care of yourself. And it just leaves a little bottom portion for you to just leave notes, just write for a little bit and, kind of see where you're at that point in time. And I think that having that kind of tracker to both force yourself to see how you're feeling outright and then also kind of positively reinforce things has been huge in me just realizing what's worth worrying about, how I'm actually feeling, what I should be focused on doing to make sure that I can feel better about things instead of worrying about everything. So the app also, for example, tells you to pick up a couple things that might help you feel better. For example, one that I've picked up is meditation. And it doesn't have to be some crazy hour session of you meditating. I meditate for maybe 5 minutes before I go to bed. And I found that just that time of trying to calm my mind down not only helps me to sleep better, but it just kind of helps me realize that I'm just kind of sitting there and life is just kind of happening. Whether I worry or I don't, the same thing happens. So why spend your time worrying? But anyways, that's just a little bit of what I've been trying to focus on in my time and what I've been trying to keep my headspace at moving forward to make sure that I'm not just stuck worrying all the time. And hopefully, if anyone else is kind of stuck in a similar situation, maybe this can help you to just find a couple tools or a couple approaches to make things a bit easier for you to handle. But anyways, that is about it for me. Thank you guys for watching. As always, it's a pleasure. I'll try to do more of these, hopefully, and not get stuck disappearing for months at a time. Hopefully streams too at some point. But either way, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.